You send her a text. She reads it. No response. You send another. Still nothing. And you're sitting there wondering, did I say something wrong? Is she testing me? Did she lose interest? There are only two reasons women fall in love with men. And if you don't know what they are, you'll keep repeating this cycle: confusion, rejection, wondering what went wrong. Most men think it's about having the right job, the right looks, saying the right things at the right time. So they optimize for all the wrong variables. They work harder, try to be funnier, more impressive, but none of that creates love. It might create attraction, it might get attention, but it doesn't create the kind of connection that makes a woman choose you and stay. The two reasons women fall in love are psychological. They're hardwired. And once you understand them, everything else makes sense. Why she came back to him and not you. Why the broke guy got the girl who rejected the rich guy. Why she lost interest even though you were perfect on paper. This video breaks down exactly what those two reasons are and how to embody both of them. Because understanding this changes everything. Let's dive in. Now, before we go deeper, this isn't about manipulation or tricks. I'm not here to teach you how to play games or become someone you're not. This is about understanding the actual psychology of how love forms. Because when you understand the mechanism, you stop guessing. Here's the truth most dating advice won't tell you. They'll give you surface tactics. Text her this, wait 3 days, act confident. But none of that addresses the core psychological needs that create love. And that's why men follow all the advice and still end up confused when she pulls away. So let's cut through the noise. What actually makes a woman fall in love? Not attracted, not interested. In love. That's what we're unpacking here. Here's what happens to most men. They like a woman, things seem good, then something shifts. She takes longer to respond, her energy changes, and they're left analyzing every conversation, every interaction, trying to figure out where they went wrong. So what do? They try to fix it by doing more attention, more effort, more availability. They think if they just show her how much they care, how committed they are, how much better they are than other guys, she'll come around. But here's what's actually happening. Women don't fall in love with men who do more. They fall in love with men who meet two very specific psychological needs. And most men never even know these needs exist. They're optimizing for the wrong variables. Think about it. You've seen the guy who has nothing going for him on paper, no money, average looks, no status, and somehow he gets the girl who rejected the guy with everything. Why? Because he accidentally meets those two psychological needs without even trying. While the other guy is trying to impress her with his job, his car, his accomplishments, none of which create love, and that's the problem. Most men are playing a completely different game than the one that actually works. They're trying to win her over through external value when love is created through something else entirely. That's where the two core reasons come in. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what they are: emotional safety and growth potential. I'll break down what each one actually means, why they create love instead of just attraction, and most importantly, how to embody both of them simultaneously. Because that's where most men fail. They can do one but not both. And without both, you're just another guy she liked but didn't choose. Let's start with reason number 1, emotional safety. Emotional safety. Now, when most men hear this, they think it means being nice, being agreeable, not rocking the boat, making her comfortable, and that's exactly why they fail at it. Emotional safety isn't about being nice, it's about being steady. It's about being a grounded presence when her world feels chaotic, when she's emotional, when she's stressed, when things around her are uncertain. Can you stay calm? Can you hold your frame? Or do you absorb her emotions and match her energy? Here's the biology behind this. From an evolutionary perspective, women needed protection from chaos, not just physical danger, emotional chaos, uncertainty, unpredictability. A man who can't stay grounded when she's upset, who matches her anxiety with his own panic, who needs her to regulate his emotions, that man doesn't create safety, he creates more chaos. So what does emotional safety actually look like? It's calm presence. When she's venting about her day, you listen without trying to fix everything immediately. When she tests you, and she will, you don't get defensive or collapse into insecurity. You stay centered. It's predictable emotional responses. She knows you won't explode when things go wrong. She knows you won't disappear when she's having a bad day. She can trust that your emotional state isn't dependent on hers. It's grounded energy. She can lean on you without feeling like she's going to knock you over. Your mood doesn't shift dramatically based on whether she texted back quickly or took 3 hours. You're the same person whether she's happy with you or mad at you. Now here's where most men get confused. They think being agreeable creates safety, so they avoid conflict. They say yes to everything. They suppress their own opinions to keep the peace. But that's not safety, that's weakness. And weakness doesn't make a woman feel safe. It makes her anxious. Because if you can't stand up for yourself, how can you stand up for her? Real emotional safety comes from strength under control. It's being able to disagree with her without attacking her. It's saying no when you need to without being apologetic about it. It's having boundaries that don't crumble the moment she pushes against them. And here's what destroys emotional safety faster than anything: reactivity. When you blow up over small things, when you need constant reassurance, when you text her 10 times because she didn't respond, when you spiral into anxiety and make her responsible for managing your emotions, you're telling her that she can't relax around you, that her emotional state has to manage yours. That's not safety, that's a burden. The irony is, the men who create the most emotional safety are often the ones who aren't trying to be safe, they're just naturally grounded, they have their own emotional regulation. They don't need her validation to feel okay, and that groundedness is what makes her feel like she can finally exhale. That's emotional safety. That's reason number one. But here's the thing, safety alone isn't enough to make a woman fall in love with you. It creates comfort, it creates trust. But it doesn't create that pull, that magnetic attraction that makes her choose you over everyone else. For that, you need reason number two, growth potential. This is the second reason women fall in love with men, and it's where a lot of nice guys completely miss the mark. Here's what growth potential means. When a woman is with you, does she feel like she's becoming better? Or does she feel like she's shrinking to accommodate you? Does she feel challenged, inspired, pushed to grow? Or does she feel comfortable, safe, but stagnant? Women don't fall in love with men who make them feel smaller. They fall in love with men who make them reach higher. A man with growth potential has vision. He has standards. He has direction. He's going somewhere. And being with him makes her feel like she's going somewhere too. Now here's the paradox. Women need both safety and growth, and those two things can feel contradictory. Safety says, you can relax. Growth says, you can do better. But a man who creates real attraction provides both at the same time. He makes her feel emotionally safe while simultaneously challenging her to be more. So what does growth potential actually look like? It's having ambition. Not necessarily for money or status, ambition for something. A man who's building something, learning something, improving something. A man who has goals beyond just making her happy. When she sees you pursuing something bigger than her, it makes her want to be part of that journey. It's having standards, not just for her, for yourself, for your life, for how you spend your time. When you have standards, you don't bend them to keep someone around. You don't compromise your values just because she's unhappy. You maintain your frame, and that's magnetic because most men don't. Most men will abandon their standards, their boundaries, their own goals the moment a woman shows interest. It's being a leader, not a follower. This doesn't mean being controlling or dominant. It means having a point of view, making decisions, having opinions that aren't just reflections of hers. When she asks, "What do you want to do?" you actually have an answer. You don't just defer to her every time because you're afraid of choosing wrong. And here's the key. Growth potential means she feels like you're adding to her life, not taking from it. She becomes more confident when she's with you, not less. She takes more risks, pursues more goals, becomes more of who she wants to be, because you're not trying to keep her small and manageable. You're encouraging her to expand. Now here's where most men fail. They think being supportive means never challenging her. They think love means accepting everything she does without question. So they become yes men. They have no standards, they have no direction, they're just orbiting her, waiting for her approval, and that kills growth potential completely. Because when you have no standards, no vision, no direction of your own, you're not leading anywhere, you're just following. And a woman can't fall in love with a man, she has to lead. She might stay with him out of comfort, she might appreciate his availability, but she won't feel that pull, that magnetic attraction that makes her choose him over everyone else. The men women fall in love with are the ones who challenge them, who push them to be better, who don't accept mediocrity from themselves or from her. That's growth potential. And without it, all the safety in the world just creates a comfortable friendship. Now here's where it gets interesting. Most men think they need money, looks, status, charisma, all these external things to make a woman fall in love. And when they don't have those things, they feel hopeless, like they're at a disadvantage they can't fix. But here's the reality. Money, Looks, status, those things are tools, not reasons. They're tools that can help you demonstrate the two core needs, but they don't create love by themselves. Think about it. A rich guy with no emotional control fails reason number one. He might attract women with his money, but the moment he gets anxious, needy, reactive, that safety disappears. She might stay for the lifestyle, but she's not in love, she's just comfortable. An attractive guy with no direction fails reason number two. He gets attention easily, but if he has no ambition, no standards, no vision, there's no growth potential. Women might sleep with him, but they don't fall in love with him because he's not taking them anywhere. This is why you see wealthy, successful men get rejected. It's why attractive men end up in the friend zone. Because those things don't address the psychological needs that create love. They can open doors, they can create initial attraction, but they can't sustain it without the foundation. The two reasons, emotional safety and growth potential, are what actually create love. Everything else just makes it easier or harder to demonstrate those qualities. Money gives you confidence, which can help with safety. Status can signal leadership, which can help with growth potential. Looks create initial attraction, which gives you more chances, but none of them create love without the core. That's why the broke guy with nothing gets the girl sometimes, because he accidentally nails the two reasons. He's grounded, doesn't need validation, stays calm when she tests him, safety. He's building something, has standards, isn't desperate to keep her growth potential. Meanwhile, the guy with everything is so focused on impressing her with his external value that he completely misses what she actually needs. So how do you actually embody both emotional safety and growth potential at the same time? Because this is where most men get stuck. They can do one or the other, but not both. Let's start with the foundation. Emotional safety requires you to be grounded. That means working on your own emotional regulation. When something triggers you, her not texting back, her canceling plans, her being short with you, can you stay calm? Or do you immediately spiral into anxiety and make it about you? Practice this. When she's emotional, don't match her energy. Don't try to fix it immediately. Just be present. Listen. Stay centered. Your job isn't to solve her problems or absorb her emotions. Your job is to be the grounded presence she can rely on when everything else feels chaotic. Now, growth potential. This requires you to have something going on beyond her. What are you building? What are you working toward? If your entire world revolves around whether she's happy with you, you have no growth potential, because there's nothing to pull her into. She's not joining you on a journey, she's the journey, and that's suffocating. Set real standards, not arbitrary rules to control her, standards for yourself, how you spend your time, what behavior you accept, what you're willing to compromise on, and what you're not. When you have standards, you don't negotiate them away just because she's upset. You hold them, and that's magnetic. Here's the dance. You comfort her emotions, but you challenge her thinking. When she's stressed about work, you're calm, supportive, steady, that's safety. But when she's making excuses, settling for less than she's capable of, you don't co-sign that. You challenge her to do better. That's growth. You're supportive without being a doormat. You're ambitious without being cold. You're emotionally available without being needy. You have boundaries without being rigid. This is the balance, and it's not easy. Most men lean too far one way, all safety and no challenge, or all challenge and no safety. The men who master this balance, they make her feel like she can relax around them while also feeling inspired by them. She doesn't have to manage his emotions, but she also doesn't feel like he's complacent. He's going somewhere, and she wants to be part of that. But he's also steady enough that she doesn't feel like she has to perform or walk on eggshells. Here's a practical test. When you're with her, does she feel like she has to shrink to make you comfortable? Or does she feel like she can expand? When she succeeds, are you genuinely happy or threatened? When she challenges you, do you get defensive or stay grounded? If you're threatened by her success, if you need her smaller so you can feel bigger, you're failing growth potential. If you can't stay calm when she's upset, if her mood dictates yours, you're failing emotional safety. Both will kill attraction over time. So here's what you do. Work on yourself first. Build something that matters to you. Develop your emotional regulation. Set real standards for your life. And then when you meet someone, you're not trying to create safety and growth. You already are safety and growth. You embody both naturally because you've built yourself into someone who has both. But here's what nobody tells you, and this might be hard to hear, but you need to hear it. Most of the rejections you've experienced, they happen because you failed reason number 1 without even realizing it. Not reason 2, reason 1, emotional safety. And specifically, anxious behavior destroys it faster than anything else. When you're anxious about whether she likes you, when you're checking your phone constantly waiting for her text, when you're overanalyzing every interaction trying to figure out where you stand, you're broadcasting that you're not grounded, you're telling her that your emotional state depends on her validation, and that's the opposite of safety. The irony is brutal. The more you care about making her fall in love with you, the more anxious you become. And that anxiety kills the very thing that would make her fall in love. It's a trap most men don't even see. Now, I know that sounds harsh. It's not meant to be cruel, it's meant to be a wake-up call. Because if you're still wondering why she lost interest, this is probably why. Not because you weren't good enough, not because she found someone better, but because your anxiety made her feel like she had to manage your emotions instead of being able to relax around you. The good news? If you can recognize this pattern, you can fix it. You can work on your emotional regulation, you can build a life that doesn't revolve around whether she texts back. You can become the grounded man who naturally creates safety without trying. So let me ask you, which reason do you struggle with more? Emotional safety or growth potential? Have you lost someone because you were too anxious and couldn't provide that grounded presence? Or because you had no direction and she felt like she was just waiting around for you to figure things out? Leave a comment. Tell me your experience. Because I read every single one and I respond. This isn't just me talking at you, this is a conversation. I want to know where you're at, what's been your biggest challenge, and what resonated most from this video. And look, this goes beyond just understanding why women fall in love. This channel is about understanding the real psychology of attraction, not the surface tactics, not the gimmicks, but the actual mechanisms that create genuine connection. We're building a community of men who get it, who understand that it's not about tricks or manipulation, it's about becoming someone worth choosing. So you have the framework now. Emotional safety and growth potential. Those are the 2 reasons. Everything else is secondary. You're not missing looks or money or status. You're not at a disadvantage. You just need to embody these 2 things. Stop wondering why she chose someone else. Stop analyzing what you did wrong. Start working on becoming grounded. Start building something that matters. Become the man who naturally creates both safety and growth. That's the difference between men women forget and men women never stop thinking about.